They're like 8 years old, 9 years old, 12, 13, 14. He tells me they are evil. These are sociopathic kids. They are evil. They are conniving. Welcome back, friends. This is Kira with Psychopath Exposure. A fellow survivor sent in a question for a personalized YouTube video. This is from Berlin, and it goes, I went through all the phases of the narcissist cycle with my ex different times in the span of 15 years. I had no idea he was a sociopath, but started suspecting when my daughter's behaviors suddenly changed, and no meds or therapy have helped her. I strongly suspect she has BPD, and she is now in a boarding school because of how severe her behaviors were. She knows how to charm, manipulate, and lie. This isn't something she learned from me, and she wasn't raised with her sociopathic father. Every time things seem to go well with her recovery, she self-sabotages for no reason. Is it too late for my daughter to change? She'll be 14 next month. Thanks for sending in your question, Berlin. I'll do my best to answer your question based on my experience. I truly believe that psychopaths are born. There are many, many studies that have been made on how these people are just born this way. And when brain scans are done, you can clearly see how it's totally different from the brain scan from a healthy person. I also believe narcissists are made. Narcissists may experience a traumatic situation growing up, probably at home or early in school, and the way they responded to it based on the stimulation that they had, the way their upbringing, the type of music they listened to, perhaps the type of content they were consuming at a young age, and the friends that they surrounded themselves with, perhaps, whether their mother or their father was narcissistic, and they just, it's kind of like they flipped the switch, this point of no return, and they start plundering and terrorizing the same way all textbook narcissists do. It's a phenomenon, really. But I want to tell you about a good friend of mine who's a social worker. So naturally, social workers, they work with a lot of kids in foster homes, with a lot of kids that have issues, mental health issues, and they take children into their homes temporarily while they're being put in an actual foster home. Well, my friend tells me straight up, he's like, these kids, they're like 8 years old, 9 years old, 12, 13, 14. He tells me they are evil. These are sociopathic kids. They are evil. They are conniving, highly manipulative. They know how to go through your purse and steal your debit cards and your credit cards when you just turn your back for just a minute, and they're already on your shit. They know how to create fake profiles, fake accounts. They know how to steal your identity. They know how to ruin you, and they do it just out of sick pleasure. Your level of patience and empathy has to be extremely high for you to be a social worker and to actually enjoy that job and to help these kids. But it doesn't hide the fact that you are dealing with evil sociopathic children. Now, what do you think happens to these kids? Do you think they stop growing? Do you think at 14, at age of 16, they stop growing? No. They're going to be 18 at some point. They're going to be out of that foster home. They're going to be adults, and they go out into the real world. And this is where you see these 23, 24, 25-year-old men or women that are sociopathic. They get jobs, they get into relationships, and all they know how to do is lie, cheat, and steal, manipulate, deceive. Let me say it again. Lie, trick, gaslight. This is what they do in order to fit in and survive in a world that they don't truly understand because they have a disorder. It must be painful for you as a parent to even toy with the idea that your daughter may be a natural born psychopath or natural born sociopath. Is it ever too late for a parent to keep trying or to have hope for their kids? I don't think, no matter what a doctor, counselor, therapist, psychotherapist, coach tells you, as a parent, it's hard to turn your back on your child. If you truly love your child, if you're not going to abandon them like a lot of these parents do that put their kids in foster homes. You see, a lot of these sociopathic kids come from broken homes. A lot of these sociopathic kids have a sociopathic father. They have a psychopathic, narcissistic mother. They come from broken homes where they come from crack homes. These kids grow up with a lot of abuse. They see drugs. They see all sorts of chaos, things that children should not be exposed to. And remember, children are like sponges. That's why kids can learn languages so fast between the ages of 2 and 5. It's incredible. But the adult, it's not that easy. But kids, they'll learn 3 languages in a year. They're sponges. But that means they're also sponges to their environment. I've gotten a couple of emails from you. I've been reading your comments, and we hope that she doesn't have that sociopathic gene. We can only hope that with a continued therapy, with continued treatment, as she goes through her teenage years, that she can become aware and kind of like keep these things in check and be able to reframe it and channel it towards the positive. But there's no guarantee, is there? There's no guarantee. The good news is that you're aware of it. The good news is that you've been able to see it. And you know that the father is a sociopath. You can see that. So you're not really a victim of this. You're caught in the middle, but you can see what's going on. This is not going to drive you crazy as it does to people that have no idea what they're dealing with. So ultimately, the decision has to come from you. How do you want to proceed? What's going to help you sleep at night? I tell that to all the survivors that I work with. You have to do, at the end of the day, you have to do what's going to help you sleep at night. This is your daughter. Are you going to turn your back on her? Are you going to betray her? Are you going to abandon her? But you need to have boundaries. You need to have boundaries because this child is going to continue growing up. And if she gets worse, and if she starts stealing from you and destroying your life, are you going to let that happen? And that's the tough question. And you hear questions like that, and you hear situations like that in 12-step recovery rooms when the parents are there and they're talking about their children that are addicted to drugs or alcohol or something like that. And it's like, how can I kick my own child out of my home? But it isn't until they do that and they let that child hit a rock bottom that the relationship can be mended. But as long as the parent continues to enable the problematic child, you're kind of like delaying the process for recovery. You're delaying the healing that needs to take place with its own process. And sometimes, actually a lot of times, before healing comes destruction. Before the dawn comes the darkest night. I know this is not easy to hear, but I have a feeling that you already understand and you already know this, and you're just trying to get the validation for what you already know. And again, if the dad is a sociopath and she didn't grow up with him and you're seeing similar traits, you're probably not wrong, Berlin. You probably know exactly what you're dealing with. And there's only so much you can do. But if you do nothing, I can promise you, things are going to get worse. If you do nothing and you turn your back on this, your life could be in danger. Your life situation may become endangered. So you have to stay on top of this. You have to stay vigilant and definitely do the best you can with recovery and treatment. I don't know if there's a cure for sociopath. I've never heard of a cure for psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists. This is not something that has a cure, at least not from my understanding. So my heart goes out to you, Berlin. I hope you're doing the things you need to do for yourself on a daily basis to keep sane, to keep your serenity in check, to keep the mental fog out of your subconscious so you can make the right decisions for yourself. Because your daughter ultimately is going to have to make her own decisions and live her own life. And you can't let her destroy you. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. Keep me posted on how this situation progresses. And again, keep sharing in the community. I'm sure you're not the only one that's dealing with a situation like this. I know someone from overseas that had to part ways with her daughter because her daughter was evil and it was just like her father. And it was one of the hardest things this woman had to do, but she came to terms with it. And lucky for her, she has another daughter that's very loving and very supportive, and they're tight. But this other daughter was evil. And it sucks. Like, there's just no other way. There's no amount of tough love that can be shared that's going to help change this situation. It's something that you're just going to have to go through. God has presented this situation for a reason that I don't know, but perhaps it's to unlock your true potential. Getting through this situation, figuring out the right way to go. But you're onto something. You already have the awareness. You know who the father is, and I think you pretty much know what your daughter is. So keep me posted. Shoot me an email when you get a chance, and we'll keep workshopping the situation together. Guys, thanks for your continued support. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe now and click on the little bell icon so you can get notified every time I make videos like this. If you guys have any questions you'd like to submit, please continue doing that. And also, if you're ready to join my online coaching mentoring program so we can workshop situations like this together, there's a link in the description below where you can get more details on how we can schedule a private one-on-one sessions online. And don't forget to download your free ebook on the 5 steps of going no contact with a psychopath narcissist. That's going to help you establish the boundaries that you need moving forward when you're ready to get out of the entanglement with a narcissist that unfortunately you've been caught up in. Thanks again for all your support. I hope you guys are having an incredible day. My name is Kira, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.